Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. Over the past few years, the United States has imposed dismantling bans on Huawei and ZTE regarding the security of Chinese network equipment. Not only that, but also lobbied their allies to follow the example of the United States. In this context, the United Kingdom, Germany and other countries have announced relevant bans. However, it will take decades to dismantle and replace these devices, as well as huge funds. As far as the operators themselves are concerned, they are unwilling to take such financial risks and the risk of network disconnection. Therefore, under the ban, they want to the countries that have been dismantled are more or less facing some difficulties. However, the leader of dismantling equipment led by the United States has not let go of Huawei and ZTE on this matter, and still wants to get rid of Chinese technology. Until recently, the chairman of the FCC, a senior official of the US government, suddenly issued a warning: getting rid of China's technology has become empty talk. What the hell is going on here? It turns out that high-level US government officials stated that unless these network operators and service providers are guaranteed reimbursement funds, they will start the project of dismantling and replacing Huawei and ZTE equipment. Otherwise, they will continue to use. Obviously, most of these operators do not receive reimbursement subsidies for the dismantling of equipment, and they are unwilling to satisfy the US ban on Huawei and ZTE when they pay out of their own pockets. In fact, under such a trend, Huawei and ZTE can no longer be banned. Earlier, in order to implement the demolition plan, the United States gave these operators $1.9 billion in grants for reimbursement. However, in the process of applying for subsidies, the United States discovered that this figure was not enough to meet the overall reimbursement situation, and there was still a funding gap of about $3 billion. So they figured out a new way to fund them on the basis of having 2 million customers or less. In other words, a large number of operators have no way to obtain reimbursement funds, or even qualify for reimbursement. The result is obvious. Up to now, they have still not made much progress in dismantling Huawei and ZTE equipment. Not only that, for such a long time since the United States issued the ban, according to data released by the Georgetown University think tank, there are thousands of people who have purchased from Huawei, ZTE and other Chinese companies this ostensibly prohibited technology. Moreover, most states and localities have not obstructed this matter. That is, in the case of stakeholders, they acquiesce in the use of Chinese technologies such as Huawei and ZTE. If things go on like this, they will only use more and more equipment from Huawei and ZTE, and it will only be more difficult to disassemble it at that time, let alone such a large subsidy funding gap that has already been opened up now. Therefore, it is not unreasonable for senior US government officials to think that getting rid of Chinese technology is empty talk. Once the United States cannot dismantle Huawei and ZTE's communication equipment, the countries lobbied by the United States will also be unable to dismantle them. After all, the rest of the countries are reluctant to issue a ban on the dismantling of Chinese enterprise communication equipment. For example, in the UK, in the past, the UK has changed its face against Huawei several times, from allowing cooperation to dismantling the ban, causing a lot of turmoil. After that, they can only helplessly explain that they are very willing to cooperate with Huawei in 5G, but the United States is not. This situation was allowed, so they were forced to make this decision, and since then they have delayed the demolition plan, which shows that they are not willing to demolish it so quickly. Well, under the circumstances dominated by the United States, it is difficult for them to do much to dismantle Huawei and ZTE equipment, let alone these countries. Therefore, it is difficult for Huawei and ZTE to be banned. In the final analysis, the reason is not a problem of funds, but a problem of technical strength. They can't find a better substitute. Otherwise, ZTE and Huawei's equipment ban actions will be much faster. It can be seen that Ren Zhengfei is still very foresight. He is not afraid that Huawei will lose the overseas 5G market because they have the technology. The United States only allows the sale of 4G chips to Huawei, and Huawei does not have the endorsement of the US market, so Huawei has encountered many obstacles in the global market. In this highly competitive industry, Huawei has demonstrated its tenacious fighting spirit and persistent pursuit of technological innovation. Through partners, such as Honor and other brands, Huawei is trying to bypass US sanctions and reopen the international market. The competition between Huawei and Qualcomm is significant. Through competition, the technologies and products of both parties have been continuously upgraded and improved. This competition benefits consumers and promotes the development and advancement of the technology industry. The development of Huawei has important inspiration and significance for Chinese enterprises. Huawei's struggle has inspired more Chinese companies to strengthen independent research and development, and strive to gain the right to speak in global competition. For Huawei, through independent research and development and groundbreaking technological innovation, Huawei has become a world-renowned enterprise. Independent research and development means that enterprises can gain a leading position in product innovation on the international stage. This is also the basis for Chinese enterprises to win in the international market competition. Huawei's enlightenment to Chinese enterprises is to always stick to independent research and development and technological innovation, which is the key core factor for the long-term prosperity of enterprises. At the same time, Huawei also tells us not to be discouraged in the face of difficulties, but to move forward bravely. Any difficulty can be overcome through continuous efforts and innovation. In this regard, what do you think of the current ban on Huawei and ZTE that has reached an impasse? Welcome to leave a comment, like and share.